CBS Sports, home of the NCAA Championship.
In Louisville, Kentucky, we kick off our weekend of coverage with the battle of top 20 basketball teams today, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Louisville Cardinals. Tech and Louisville meeting for the 17th time, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, along with Bill Raftery. These are two excellent basketball teams, Louisville particularly tough at home. Bill, they have 6 men averaging in double figures, and they are a very well-balanced outfit.
Well, Denny Crum has always had depth and consistency, but I think this club, the leader is LeBradford Smith. How he plays is important for Denny Crum. He has made him a point guard. He's making the judgments as to who's to get the basketball, and he's improved greatly in that position.
Well, LeBradford Smith, in all likelihood, will draw a very difficult defensive assignment today. He'll go up against Kenny Anderson, the outstanding freshman point guard of Georgia Tech.
Well, that would keep you awake at night. Here's a youngster that's coming onto the college scene with all the confidence in the world. Tremendous speed to blow by people, as you see here. Also dish in that particular situation. But seeing the floor, the big guys have to get their hands out of their pocket or they're going to be injured by some of his passes.
Kenny Anderson is not alone. He has plenty of help in Brian Oliver and Dennis Scott shooting from the perimeter. I think some folks might find it interesting, Bill, that there's a certain relaxed attitude about this intersectional game.
Yeah, it is a comfort zone that the coaches look for, but at this time of the year, I think they're both looking towards the NCAA. Obviously, the polls are interested in how these two teams play, but I think they're looking for that consistency and to develop different areas of the game for their club.
Georgia Tech has not lost to a non-ACC opponent this year. Louisville has lost only 1 at home, and that was an upset. Back with the starting lineups right after this. Kentucky, where better than 19,000 have gathered inside for this meeting between the Cardinals of Louisville and the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Let's check the starting lineups. Bobby Cremins, the head coach at Georgia Tech, somewhere back in that crowd. He will start Dennis Scott at 1 forward. Malcolm Mackey, a freshman from Chattanooga, at the other, and the center is Johnny McNeil, a senior from High Point, North Carolina. There's Kenny Anderson out of New York, and he is joined by Brian Oliver, the senior from Smyrna, Georgia. Denny Crum, now in his 19th season at Louisville, where he has become the 12th all-time winningest coach. Cornelius Holden, a sophomore, is joined on the wing by another sophomore, Everett Sullivan, and one of the most improved players in college basketball, Felton Spencer, 7-foot senior center. Keith Williams is 1 guard, and the man that Bill highlighted in the pregame chat, LeBradford Smith, the junior out of Bay City, Texas. Our officials today, Paul Hausman, Dick Paparo, and Larry Rhodes. LeBradford Smith penetrates, pulls up, dishes right side for Everett Sullivan. Shot short, Mackey with a rebound. And now Kenny Anderson dishes left side. They'll reset.
Man-to-man, both ends. Of course, Anderson uses the whole floor, doesn't he? You better keep running.
Traveling. Brian Oliver. Bobby Cremins immediately off the bench, where he'll spend most of the day.
Doesn't take Bobby long to pick out his wardrobe for games.
That was for 3, and Anderson with a rebound. Among his other talents, Anderson averaging almost 5.5 rebounds per game. The shot too strong. Anderson saves it, dishes.
Nice.
Mackey short with a shot, loose ball. Anderson again, and Smith comes out of the traffic jam.
Actually overpassed, Fern.
Felton Spencer. Boy, they collapse on him.
They're going to have to.
Turnaround jumper, good.
He's become a great prospect. I teased him about Dwayne Schins's giving up basketball. It should help his draft situation. He had a big smile. really has improved his game to another level.
Felton Spencer, Denny Crum said yesterday he has come about as far as any player he's ever coached.
But he did say he had a long way to go.
Scott equalizes.
They run a lot of down screens for Oliver and Scott. And, of course, Anderson usually responds with the correct pass.
Still man-to-man for Georgia Tech.
Here's the old UCLA set. Little shuffle cut.
Denny Crum, of course, an assistant to John Wooden some years back at UCLA. Nice defense underneath.
Keith Williams had the shot. This is where Anderson is tough. Now, it's an errant pass, and great passers will do that. But you have to run the floor to respond to his greatness.
He sees more than most other players, in other words, right?
Incredible. I spoke to his high school coach, Jack Curran, and he just sees the game at a different level. Sort of an instant replay in his mind. He focuses so well.
We are tied at 2. Traveling.
You mentioned the collapsing defense. The disadvantage to Georgia Tech may be the inside game. So Bobby Crimmins is countering by having people dip down, scratch, double up whenever they can.
5 turnovers already in the game. Louisville opponents have averaged turning the ball over 20 times per game here at Freedom Hall. Switch inside, Oliver bounces out and can't get the pass. There's the entry pass to Mackey. Short, McNeil. A fight for the rebound, and the foul on Felton Spencer.
Another facet of Kenny Anderson's game, Vern, is his ability to hit the low post. If he sees the guy and the guy puts his hand up, he's going to get the basketball.
LaBradford Smith went for the steal. Both teams cold here in the early going. And these are 2 of the better shooting teams in college basketball. That misfire by LaBradford Smith.
Another, the ability to rebound, something Anderson possesses.
Dennis Scott. That was for 3. It's out of bounds. Louisville ball. Georgia Tech 1 of 6 and Louisville 1 of 4.
They both shot the ball pretty well yesterday, but it didn't count yesterday.
And both teams are hitting 53% of their field goals for the season. 25 and 17 respectively early on.
What a struggle. You can see the zoning up. McNeil and Oliver helping Mackey.
Smith, another turnover. They're even at 3. Now Kenny Anderson at a slow pace across the timeline.
Louisville with good balance.
Scott misses his second 3-pointer, follows his own shot. That's too strong. They're 1 for 8 now.
By and large, pretty good shots, and it's not the defense that's stopping them. A little bit tight, trying to rush it just a little.
2-2 ball game. We have played 3.5 minutes.
So much for intersectional clashes. Both coaches after them.
And so much for being relaxed on the court as well.
The strength of Louisville is the inside game, and Georgia Tech doing a good job thus far negating that end of it.
Holding on the pick and roll. They get it to Everett Sullivan. Good defensive job by Dennis Scott. Felton Spencer with the rebound. He's got 2.
He'll stay after it. The work ethic. Got cut in 6th grade, Bert, and just kept coming.
Everett Sullivan down to harass the opposition. Kenny Anderson has it now. Spin move. Dishes left side. Mackey with an elbow. Offensive foul.
A little out of control. Surprised with the pass, but you shouldn't be when you're playing with Anderson.
Been a rough start for Georgia Tech. Louisville not shooting well, but they still have a 4-2 edge.
Not long ago, an Eyewitness News special report from TV5. We now return to our regularly scheduled programming.
Comparing him as one of the greatest ever. He went and saw him and said, "You're not saying enough good things about him." He's that good.
6-4. Anderson hits 2. That narrows the margin to 2.
Man, the spacing's been excellent to take away the post play.
Spencer comes out on the free throw line now. Ryan Oliver collapses back and keeps one eye on Felton Spencer. This is a decided advantage down low for Louisville.
Size and offensive ability as well. Spencer, very unselfish, though. He'll kick it the opposite way.
Shot clock down to 15. And another foul on Georgia Tech. That means Everett Sullivan will shoot a couple. Johnny McNeil guilty of the foul.
Is on McNeil, number 44.
And looking at Georgia Tech tapes, their defense has improved as the year has gone on. A great game against Carolina. And Bobby Crimmins just is looking for the consistency now with this club. And that's why this game is pivotal. Usually intersectional game, as we mentioned, you can just go in, hey, if we win it, it doesn't hurt us in the league. I think they're trying to prove something to themselves.
Sullivan misses the first of two. In each of their 4 losses this year for Louisville, poor free throw shooting has been costly.
Up in Ohio State particularly, and DePaul as well.
McNeil, that's rejected by Spencer. Deflected instead of rejected. Everett Sullivan pulls up, finds Cornelius Holman, who can't hang on. It was just a bit behind him.
Inside passing the key for both clubs, but more so for Georgia Tech.
Scott for 3. He's 0 for 3 from three-point range. The follow, no. They're just frigid from the field. Scott, off-balance shot.
That's impressed me, his ability inside on the box. You know his shoulder problem. He heard it in practice this week. And even yesterday, he was pulling the string a little on the long jumper, but from 18, forget it.
Georgia Tech now 2 of 12 from the field. It's a 7-6 game. Shot clock on the left. Last time it came into play. Off the pick, LeBradford Smith for 3.
Ball by LeBradford Smith. A 3-point goal.
Anderson throws it away.
Well, normally, he would be going out to the corner.
Right.
And that's where he has trouble. Players reacting to him. It is a turnover, but he made the right pass.
Substitution now. Perhaps the best 6th man in college basketball. Jerome Harmon, who is the leading scorer off the bench for Louisville, averaging 15 points a game.
And hold on when he goes up. He may bring us with him.
Here's Harmon, guarded by Anderson.
Nice.
Denied by James Munlin.
Good 3-quarter.
10-6 ball game, 13 minutes to go, first half. Now Harmon will guard Kenny Anderson.
They switch everything and it frees up Scott. Nice play. Anderson and Scott communicated with their eyes. Louisville likes to switch and exchange people defensively.
Assist to Kenny Anderson. He had 162 coming in. And the dunk is no good by Pelton Spencer. James Munlin with a foul.
Well, he had tried the 3-quarter earlier and got away with it. But you can see Denny Crum's whole outlook go inside and punish the defenders for Georgia Tech.
Non-shooting foul. Harmon.
Just 2.
That's for 2. Jerome Harmon, a sophomore from Gary, Indiana. Anderson. Louisville ball.
Got to finish plays, Vern. Great penetration. Does he have some speed?
Mackey back in the lineup. And John McNeil goes out. 6 turnovers now for Georgia Tech. 3 of them by Kenny Anderson. And he's got a great turnover to assist ratio. So this is somewhat unexpected.
Over 3-1.
12-8, 12-15 to go, first half.
Watch the alley-oop. Good defense by Tech. Harmon runs, brushes his man off the high post. Now this is where LA has improved. He really settles the club down. Doesn't look for himself first.
Jumper good. Harmon.
And Smith set it up. Got him in the low box. A disadvantage over Anderson.
6-point lead for Louisville. Oliver. Scott goes by Smith. Has to get over Tony Kimbrough, who's in the lineup now for Louisville. Everett Sullivan. Pelton Spencer. Georgia Tech. Featuring the European Figure Skating Championships from Leningrad, and I was there, and you will not believe the ice dancing performance of the Duchesnays. Later today, a special Major League Baseball report at 3:50 Eastern Time. Will there be a lockout? And then some of you will watch Florida Georgetown. Others will watch Oklahoma State UNLV, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, as we continue our weekend coverage here on CBS. 16-8, Georgia Tech hitting 20% on 3 of 15 from the field. Let's check the lineup now. They've got Mackey along with Anderson, Scott, and this is Brian Oliver short with a shot. And Carl Brown is also checked in. Kenny Anderson taps it out of bounds from behind. Tony Kimbrough is on the court for the Louisville Cardinals, joined by LaBradford Smith, Spencer, Jerome Harmon. Here's Everett Sullivan, 2.
Both clubs prepared for the fast break. They're all balancing. Doesn't matter with this kid.
Kenny Anderson.
Well, the one thing Eddie Crum addressed was we don't try and stop one guy. We have a team defense. But with Anderson, the ability to slither between defenders, it negates it.
16-10.
That alley-oop for nice defense again. They try and set up Harmon.
Tony Kimbrough, who started the season as a starter, played poorly and was replaced by Cornelius Holden. Here's a rebound, Georgia Tech. Anderson again. What speed? What a pass.
Well, get down the floor and get your hands ready. That's why Scott is a better player. The weight loss and the ability to move.
That is the 3rd assist for Kenny Anderson. He had 18 in one game earlier this year against Pittsburgh, 17 against North Carolina.
Plus Dennis Scott, I saw him last year. His mom was down visiting Georgia Tech, and he was big, and I said, you got to lose the weight. He said for every pound now, he's thinking cash eventually.
LaBradford Smith off the glass.
Within himself, the difference.
18-12, under 10 minutes to go. Here's Anderson. Carl Brown.
Well, smaller lineup. That's what I was going to say. With Brown in, they can do more things. Play Kenny off the ball, like this.
There's the shot that goes off the fingertips of Smith and in. 18-14. Let's take a look at these defense by Louisville, or by Georgia Tech.
A lot of collapsing, Vern. They're really helping when Felton's low.
Sullivan gets it underneath. Jerome Harmon, they collapse on him.
Brown down from the point.
That rattled around and went through for Kimbrough.
Well, Tony's going to be talking to the press if he keeps playing like this. Nice look again.
Brian Oliver.
Good call. Sullivan from the rear with the bump. It's amazing how quickly, almost NBA type of pressure with the dribble that Kenny Anderson exhibits.
Keith Williams checks back in now for Louisville. Foul on Everett Sullivan. And that will send Brian Oliver to the free throw line. No, it will not. I'm sorry. Non-shooting foul. They're not in the bonus. So Oliver will inbound. Carl Brown from Leicester, England. Scott gets one.
Oh, you can't fall off him. You mentioned Carl Brown. What did Bobby say? The Englishman from England. I said, Bobby, wait a second. Where else would he be from? He can really laugh at himself.
Dennis Scott had a streak of 69 straight games in which he had hit a three-pointer. That ended the other night against Wake Forest when he took only 2. He's got a sore right shoulder, and it's really hampered his shooting style. Happened in practice last Tuesday.
Nothing worse for a shooter than have a bad shoulder, right? Bad wing?
Clock shot under 17 now. 20-17 ball game with 8:15 to go in the half. Last year, Louisville won at Georgia Tech. 2 years ago, Georgia Tech won here.
Look at the help from everywhere on Spencer.
Harmon, no. Rebound, Scott.
Mackey with a great check out.
And a chance to cut the lead to tie it up. Cut the lead, nothing.
Well, if you've got the dribble forcing the defense back, how can you get out on Scott? It's really devastating as a weapon.
Georgia Tech has hit 5 of its last 7 shots, including 2 3-pointers. This foul underneath on Brian Oliver.
Bobby Crimmins over the years has done a great recruiting job. His young big guys are going to be good. Malcolm Mackey's going to be a good player. But defensively, I think he's grown as a coach. Really just the preparation for this game, doubling every time, and even the big guys have the ball.
Time has been called. Georgia Tech has come back to tie it up.
Bob Davies and Dick McGuire. Well, Oscar Robertson, Chris Jackson, watch out. Look at the speed of the dribble and always looking, or at least always seen, and the slim trim. Dennis Scott with the finish. Now think of that plus the ability to shoot the jumper. But with Denny Crum, the outstanding job over the years, they've had so many great pros that hang around the town. Darrell Griffith, was Billy Thompson, Kenny Payne, and Purvis Elson that play with these kids and talk to them about life in general. And they've got a great outlook in terms of the responsibilities.
That ball batted away by Dennis Scott. On the line, Georgia Tech's ball with a chance to take the lead. Jerome Harmon with a turnover. That's the 6th turnover for Louisville. They're even at 6-6 now. Dennis Scott now with 14 points. He's averaging 28.5 points per ball game, so he's halfway there. 20-20.
He just said his legs are better at the end of the game because of the loss of weight, man.
Anderson gets it back to Oliver. Change the play. Anderson with the bounce pass. Oh, perfect.
Oh, well, you got to hug Scott because he's such a good shooter. But poor Malcolm Mackey, they don't even wave at him. He posts up. They got to send him a letter once in a while.
That's 5 assists for Anderson. And Georgia Tech with a 22-20 lead.
Poor Malcolm, he's like a fake center, and he's got some ability. I think they're going to need him in the NCAA.
From the corner, good. Harmon. Jerome Harmon. Long pass at the other end. Scott. Tony Kimbrough with a defensive job.
What a look. We mentioned how big the floor is for Anderson. He used every inch of it to deliver, but the hustling defense by Tony Kimbrough negated the attempt.
Emerick Sullivan checks back in now for Louisville. And Felton Spencer will get a rest.
How about Denny playing golf? The day of the South Carolina game, I said, is that because you're comfortable with this team? He said the weather.
Rejected by LaBradford Smith. Tony Kimbrough. 6 minutes to go, first half.
LaBradford rising to the occasion.
Anderson goes by Smith. Kisses the rim. The rebound is good by Oliver.
Now that time LaBradford Smith took one dribble path away. Kenny reversed and he didn't get the support.
From the corner. Smith gets it back. Foul. Brian Oliver.
A foul is on Oliver.
The New York connection.
Offensive rebounds now. Georgia Tech 10-2.
Oh, well, Jerry Jones, the assistant at Louisville, said rebounding is the key. We have to rebound.
That leads to a lot of second shots, and Georgia Tech now 10 of 17 after a 3 of 15 start.
When you think of the perimeter shots, there are a lot of long rebounds.
Harmon, short, good defense. Georgia Tech ball. This is a Georgia Tech team, Bill, that got off to a 10-0 start, lost a close one at home to Duke, and then 3 in a row on the road by a total of 5 points. So they've really had a good season.
They're dynamic in their outside game. They just have to establish that inside game.
Almost thrown away. Saved by Anderson. Oh, pardon me.
Say goodnight. A genius with the bounce.
Dennis Scott has 18 now and 6 assists for Kenny Anderson.
Dennis ought to give him some of his meal money on the road.
26-24. Georgia Tech leads it. Under 5 minutes to go, first half. That pass too strong for Cornelius Holden. Here's Anderson with the speed again. Basket, no. Smith rebound. 26-24.
Quicker team in.
Holden. Nice job.
A quicker team. And, of course, Cornelius was a center in high school. They'll be able to use him, maybe get a little floor speed with Spencer out.
26-26 ball game. 17-11 rebounding edge for Georgia Tech. Ryan Oliver, who hit 7 3-pointers the other night in the win over Wake Forest, gets his first of the game.
In Scott's absence, I might add. Not able to shoot the three.
Well, we talked about Louisville having 6 men scoring in double figures. Georgia Tech has 3 at over 20 per game. Anderson, Scott, and Oliver.
Well, that's a triple team, Vern. They should be able to kick it out quicker and punish Georgia Tech, but they're not. LA trying to post up Anderson.
Bradford calling for the ball. Now the give and go back to Everett Sullivan. Over McNeil, the shot no good. Saved by Tony Kimbrough, but he was on the line.
And you mentioned McNeil. The rotation defensively, McNeil did not quit. Came out and challenged the jumper.
3:30 to go first half. This has turned into a scrappy ball game. 29-26 Georgia Tech.
Up at halftime on the road to the Final Four, the threat of a spring training lockout is still hanging over baseball. We will update that situation for you. And we'll show you a basketball program cleaning up the streets in Chicago. We'll see you at halftime. Now back to Vernon Bill in Louisville.
Okay, Andrea, Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, filled to the brim again. That's not unusual in this lovely city. 19,000 plus, and Georgia Tech rebounding from an 8-point deficit after a cold shooting start to take a 3-point lead. Cornelius Holden out of Los Angeles.
I mentioned the low post. He played for Willie West. I said he's a pretty good coach. He said pretty good coach, 620 wins. A great tradition at that school, Vern, Crenshaw High School.
Crenshaw High that has also provided Marcus Johnson, Darwin Cook, John Williams, Stevie Thompson up at Syracuse. Crenshaw High in Los Angeles.
And maybe Darryl Strawberry too, right?
Yeah.
He played a little basketball.
29-26. Brown, Carl Brown with the ball right now.
Giving Kenny a little blow.
Bobby Crimmins up changing the offensive set. Brown moves to joint guard. Oliver got it. Oh, boy, can they fire.
They really stretch your defense. Anderson gets about 36 minutes a game, and I think that missed layup caused Bobby Crimmins to bring him out. Look at that run.
32-26, 4 of 7 from three-point range now for Georgia Tech. 2.5 to go. We were chatting with Bobby yesterday about the ability of his ball club to come back, and Bill said, you know, with those 3-pointers, they get right back in. And he says, yeah, ain't that something?
Well, they're so explosive. And again, that ability to penetrate by Anderson makes everybody vulnerable.
14-point swing now in this ball game. There's the answer by Everett Sullivan.
Better ball movement. They can't hold it when they're trapped. Good recognition.
Two minutes to go, first half. Georgia Tech going after its 4th win in a row after that mini losing streak of 3 in a row on the road. Underneath, Spencer got in front of Mackey, and Mackey read it well.
They found him. Malcolm, shake hands with your teammates.
Malcolm Mackey, the freshman from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Said if I were Spencer, I'd play behind him. Let him get it.
LeBradford Smith posting up, travel. That's the 8th Louisville turnover, and Kenny Anderson gets a bit of a rest and then right back in.
Louisville's going to have to play an inside-out game where get it in, dump it out because of the collapsing gold shirts. Switching. You'll see Spencer almost come out on Anderson.
Oh, and look at him find Mackey underneath. Mackey fights with Spencer. Foul on Malcolm Mackey.
Foul is on Mackey, number 32.
Brian Oliver, first player in Tech history now with 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, and 500 assists.
And he's sort of forgotten with the flash of Anderson and the deep shooting. of Scott, but he can really put some numbers up.
Final minute, first half.
And I got to kick it right back out.
Cornelius Holden, good shot.
Don't put it in.
50 seconds to go, a three-point edge for the Yellow Jackets.
As he improves his shooting, he's going to be tougher.
Oliver, terrific defensive job by Cornelius Holden.
Great step up. He's got all the ability. Larry May, one of the assistants, said he's improved his ability to shoot the ball because he's shooting at the top, not on the way down.
Coming up at halftime, you saw the notice. Andrea Joyce back in our New York studios. Great offensive foul, Oliver.
How about Everett Sullivan stepping up defensively? Heads-up play.
Second foul on Oliver. Nobody in foul trouble so far. That, as a matter of fact, only the 17th foul.
For Georgia Tech.
Now Carl Brown comes back in.
And he replaces Brian Oliver, number 13.
Seconds to go, first half. At one point, Louisville led 16-8. Largest Georgia Tech lead 6 at 32-26.
Try and get it to Spencer on the box or dribble drive.
Final 6 seconds. Spencer. Jump hook? No. Tip by Holden. Yes. Count the basket. Cornelius Holden. And that cuts the Georgia Tech lead to 1.
Well, they got what they wanted. Down in the box, the big guy. But what happens with Louisville, they have a lot of people attack the glass, which should help Tech fast break eventually in the second half. But they are awesome when they go after it.
That's the end of the half with our score 34-33 Georgia Tech. Andrea Joyce back with the road to the Final Four after this message and a word from your local station. At Freedom Hall, this is one of the sky boxes where you can get some hors d'oeuvres, a libation or 6, and watch a little Louisville Cardinal basketball, all for the tiny tune of $35,000 per season. This particular box belongs to the athletic department of the University of Louisville, so I don't know whether they charge themselves.
That was more than my whole budget. You probably could have fit all of our followers when I was coaching in that box. It's come a long way, huh?
Somehow they let us in free, and we even got better seats. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Bill Raftery. 34-33 at halftime, and a very interesting ball game thus far.
The shooting wasn't good early, no question, but the energy level was high. I thought both clubs balanced the floor well, took away the fast breaking ability of the other team, but with Kenny Anderson on the floor, it is exciting.
Kenny Anderson has some nice figures thus far in one half of play, including 6 assists.
Hey, he just finds people. You must run the floor with your eyes glued on him because he's a magician with the bounce.
Well, those 6 assists have helped Dennis Scott post 18 points to lead all scorers thus far in the ball game. And for Louisville, it's been a balanced scoring effort. They have 3 players with 6 points apiece. Felton, Spencer, Holden. Offensive rebound is Bill.
Well, that's the fear, I think, for Louisville, that they didn't rebound. It's helped Tech.
Georgia Tech with a 10-4 lead. Bench scoring. Louisville 10-0. That's not unexpected with the presence of Jerome Harmon, who averages 15 points a game.
Absolutely.
And the leading scorers, Dennis Scott with 18. He averages 28.5 per game. And Spencer, one of 3 players to have 6 for the Louisville Cardinals. Paul Hausman, who is in his 30th year as an official in college basketball. He's from Roanoke, Virginia, and Paul told me before the game that this is his final season. He'll call it quits and go back and tend to the insurance business after the NCAA tournament.
A real nice man, well respected within the coaching circles, and sorry to see him leave.
34-33 as we get set. Kenny Anderson, along with Mackey, Oliver, McNeil, and Scott on the court for Georgia Tech.
Little screen down for Scott.
Mackey turn around over Williams. Good.
I think he can do some things. You just got to let him know you like him a little.
36-33.
Because now I think for Louisville, Spencer has to become the focal point down low, giving it back to the weak side if they double or triple up on him.
Everett Sullivan changes position in midair. Spencer with the rebound puts it up and in.
I'll stay near the hole.
Spencer.
They're going to give him the outside shot. Spencer might be in position to follow it up.
Nice pass. McNeil from the assist of Anderson.
Defensively, Vern, the problem with playing a guy like Anderson, you have to run down the floor, get in position to see the ball, and he just takes advantage if you don't.
38-35. It's Cornelius Holden who has the ball right now. Spencer, number 50. There's Sullivan, along with Bradford Smith, and that shot adjusted by Dennis Scott. Here comes Georgia Tech in transition. Left-handed shove, left side. A no-look pass by Kenny Anderson.
No look for you. He's extraordinary in the open floor.
That's 9 assists for Anderson. LaBradford Smith. Spencer over the top. That's kind of a cheap foul. Felton Spencer has had real problems with fouls the last 2 years, but he's only fouled out of 1 game this year.
But Malcolm Mackey has stayed in there and checked him out. He's put the body on him.
Tony Kimbrough comes into the ball game. That's the 2nd foul on Felton Spencer, who, as we said, 13 foul outs in the previous 2 seasons, only 1 this year. 40-35. Kenny Anderson for 3.
The switching defense. Felton Spencer had to come out. He's not quick enough to get out on a guy like Anderson.
Largest lead of the game now for Georgia Tech. There's Spencer right back into the arms of Scott. Goes by LaBradford Smith, goaltending on Keith Williams.
Now Felton Spencer did the right thing, but the rotation he didn't read, and Denny Crum has to make sure when they reverse the ball, they see somebody and the defense isn't reacting.
Timeout has been called by Denny Crum as his team has fallen behind 10 points on a 9-0 Georgia Tech run. At 12 o'clock Eastern time, followed by Oklahoma Seton Hall college basketball at 12:45. And the highlight of the day, the NBA All-Star Game preview at 2:45 Eastern, followed by tip-off of the NBA All-Star Game from Miami tomorrow afternoon. We are in Freedom Hall, where Georgia Tech has erupted to a 10-point bulge over Louisville with 17:37 to go in the ballgame.
And LaBradford Smith has to take over now.
Smith posts up, now pops out.
That's that dip in, and Georgia Tech has pushed him out further.
Jerome Harmon can't get it. And here comes a 3-on-3 break. Left side, Anderson, great speed, off the glass, goaltending.
Bobby wants him to go strong. Relax, Coach Crimmins. He's doing all right. Gorgeous run.
6 for 6 on field goals in this half now for Georgia Tech. 47-35. Oh, he passes on the three-pointer. Spencer looks back outside, and they got Dennis Scott with a reach-in. Toward the end of the ball game, Bill and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game, and in their honor, Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. Chevrolet Most Valuable Player coming up a little later.
Vern, it was interesting. Denny Crum trying to get it in low and get Spencer to kick it back out. The little pump fake by Smith drew the defense. But the key thing, I think, for Georgia Tech, when somebody shapes up in the 3-second lane, they're too far out to catch it or do anything with it.
Felton Spencer, who's on the athletic director's honor roll after the fall semester with a better than 3-point grade average. We had some fun with him yesterday. He switched one of his language courses from Spanish to German. He said, I'm doing better in German.
It was easier, he said. Nice.
Oh, goodness sakes alive.
The problem for Louisville, if they get behind, if you press, everything becomes man-to-man to Anderson.
Hit the basket count.
Big possession.
And Dick Paparo called a foul underneath. The basket is good and a foul away from the ball.
Mackey trying to be physical. Gives him the ball with a chance for 2 or 3.
Foul called while the ball was in the air. So Smith gets the three-pointer, and now here's an offensive call. Denny Crum can't believe it.
Felton Spencer didn't really need it. He tried to be physical to post up.
Carl Brown back in the lineup for Georgia Tech. He'll replace Mackey as Bobby Crimmins goes with his smaller lineup now. Carl Brown, who has only been playing basketball for 6 years. He was a soccer player in England. Came over for his senior year in high school. Liked it so much he decided to stay. Played 2 years in junior college. Here's Anderson.
Oh, just great blow by the creator. You really are not getting good Louisville help defense right now. Anderson just breaking everybody down.
Anderson with 12 points now. Tony Kimbrough for 3. Oliver way up for the rebound. And it'll be Louisville ball, or Georgia Tech ball. Fans thought it went off McNeil. Denny Crum certainly thought so. And he and Paparo are getting into it.
Well, I think they've had a few relationships.
Not the first time.
They've got to help better with the dribble. McNeil, the hold-off. They've been trying to stress that this year. The post guy moving a man out.
So the foul goes on Georgia Tech's Johnny McNeil. That's his second. Mackey, the only player for Tech with 3 fouls. Spencer has 3 for Louisville. 51-40, largest lead was 12. It's now 11.
The collapsing man-to-man has been so effective.
Loose ball, Anderson. Williams back. And Kenny Anderson comes out to set it up. Pump fake. That three-pointer, and McNeil might get fouled. Yes, he does.
A little bit of a push by Johnny. Kenny Anderson with good control. Of course, the wide-open jumper. You'll take that anytime if you're Georgia Tech. Louisville has to come up with another way of attacking. They're just not getting things inside. So it might have to be a quick hit and a dump out and step in for the 2.
See what they've got in mind this trip down the court now.
This is their normal run now, UCLA.
Smith. They double down on him. Kimbrough. Yes.
Good luck.
51-42 at the 15-minute mark of the ball game. Interesting, Bill, in posting an 18-4 record, Louisville has not beaten a top 25 team this year.
They've had their problems on the road.
There's the answer from Scott. He's got 22.
If anything, that's a great added dimension for him, his ability to go on the box. Everybody knows he can shoot the deep one. Now kick it right out. So he's not getting a good pass out.
Yeah, the return pass from Spencer is what's hurting.
Yeah, it is. He's either picked the wrong guy or thrown it to the rotating defender.
They collapse on him again.
Here's the guy over here.
He never saw. He got the shot.
That's all right.
Keith Williams was open.
Wide open.
53-44. 14-15 to go. Jerome Harmon. That pass too strong. And Carl Brown retrieves it for Georgia Tech. And here's the plea of Bobby Crimmins to run the first play. Crimmins.
A little excitable, huh?
Crimmins is coaching. 15 on the shot clock.
A lot of up and down and screen across.
Loose ball. Jerome Harmon. Big possession now for Louisville. Kimbrough slapped out of his hands. Clean play. Scott, after the takeaway, takes the shot.
That's amazing. Why take it all the way when you can shoot it? But, you know, defensively, Vern, your reaction is to protect the basket. That's really impressive.
Then is Scott with 25 on 11 of 19 shooting.
I told him yesterday I could help him with his stroke. He just giggled.
Harmon, air ball. edge again. That matches the largest of the game. Oliver. Oh, dandy play.
Experience.
14-point lead. Keith Williams with a tray.
Denny Crum is making some substitutes now, and it's really too quick a game for Spencer.
Traveling Georgia Tech. Subs will come in. Cornelius Holden, one of them. Everett Sullivan coming back in. And Mackey re-enters the fray for Georgia Tech. Denny Crum. That was unbelievable playing golf in February in the middle of basketball season.
They would have ran me out of town because he's got a comfort zone as a coach. He's staying with Spencer because of the offense, but in the open floor, it's difficult for him to get back. It's a running game right now.
Georgia Tech, which started the game hitting 3 of 15, 11 of 12 in this half. Keith Williams. Nice sequence now by the senior guard. That cuts it back to a 9-point edge. 58-49, 12-20 to go.
There's the switch inside. They just exchanged people.
Louisville's only defeat at home to Cincinnati, a 4-point loss.
They double up on the dribble, on that pick and roll.
Shot clock at 15. Timeout, Georgia Tech. 58-49, just under the 12-minute mark. Bench scoring 12-0 Louisville. Second half field goals, Georgia Tech 11-12. Anderson with 13 points and 10 assists. And Scott has taken some of those assists for 25 points, and he has 5 rebounds. All of which adds up to a 58-49 lead for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, trying to go 15-4 for the season. All 4 of their defeats came in ACC play. Now Keith Williams is on Kenny Anderson. Shot clock down to 9. Carl Brown, Brian Oliver, nifty move.
And he had an option of Scott in the corner. Terrific defensive set. Denny Crum really revved them up to go after Georgia Tech. But the inside game now is the key. If they get it down, they've got to reverse the ball because that collapsing defense is destroying them. And don't forget fatigue, having played so many games this week on Louisville's behalf.
This is the 5th game in 10 days for the Louisville Cardinals.
There's the kick.
Back it comes to Sullivan.
Great excellent rotation by the defense.
Spencer, loose ball. Georgia Tech, Kenny Anderson, foul from behind by Cornelius Holden.
The defense is causing precise passing or dictating precise passing, and Louisville has not been doing that.
Bobby Cremins and Carl Brown still chatting with one another.
What do you think he thought when he first met Bobby, being from England and listening to Bobby's accent from the Bronx? Sort of threw him off, I'll bet.
Georgia Tech, 93% in this half. Anderson. Sullivan with the rebound for the Cardinals.
They're not getting any easy baskets.
Keith Williams. That's short. Georgia Tech ball.
Vern, one of the problems defensively for Louisville, you're not used to using all of the floor with 3 terrific perimeter people. So it exhausts you defensively having to go out and deny and then play the guy with such great range.
Keith Williams out. LeBradford Smith back in. For 3, Kenny Anderson.
If they ever get some post play, I mean,
and they might next year.
Well, I'll tell you, I think Mackey has got a youngster sitting out.
They've got Matt Geiger, who transferred from Auburn, and Bobby Cremins. There's Harmon with the basket. Bobby Cremins said Matt Geiger is the best big man he's ever seen.
Vern, what a look!
There's the best little man you've ever seen.
Oh, what a chest pass. I mean, a simple, direct pass leading to an easy basket. Louisville cannot get back.
65-51.
But I think they should give Mackey a chance to touch it. You know, let him feel the basketball.
Scott with a rebound. And a chance for a 16-point lead now. Anderson, maybe 17. Yep,
just punishes the D, pushing everybody back in the lane. Dennis Scott's got to love this guy.
And, of course, Dennis Scott is another part of the puzzle for Bobby Crumens, because there's a chance, if he's going to be a lottery player, he may leave school and go to the NBA.
Oh, what a tough loss for Bobby.
The big question is, will he be a lottery player? There's Harmon with the answer. 68 to 53.
And you haven't seen the 2-2-1 full court press or the 1-2-1-1 because of the fast breaking ability and the ball handling of Kenny Anderson. You can't get too far behind.
Georgia Tech, 15 of 17 in this half. There's the pick and the shot by Oliver, 15 of 18. Harmon, LeBradford Smith.
One of the few easy baskets. The quick jumper set it up.
Anderson back now with 12 assists and 6 of 11 from the field for 16 points. And they'll work on the clock a little bit.
And get it back in the right hands.
That's right. You know, you never know where your preparation is going to come from, Bill. I was in Leningrad for the European Figure Skating Championships, and 2 weeks ago in my hotel room in Leningrad, Russia, turned on the television set and watched the Georgia Tech-Virginia game.
Amazing.
It is a small world these days.
Is.
Watched Georgia Tech lose in overtime to Virginia. That started a 3-game skip.
The international game now.
Yes.
Basketball. There's a lot of Russians playing in the pros right now.
Matter of fact, Russian television will have a commentator at the NBA game tomorrow. The All-Star game, it'll be seen live in the Soviet Union. Here in the States, of course, you'll see it on CBS. Underneath. Foul.
Scott just doubled up. I mean, they've just been marvelous post defensively. They just react beautifully. They're not giving any easy goals to Felton Spencer.
Bobby Crumens goes to his bench and brings Johnny McNeil back into the court. Mackey will get a rest. And Felton Spencer at the free throw line.
As you think of the consistency over the years of Denny Crum with this program, and it's a system. A lot of the notes that you see, I chose the NBA style of offense that Denny Crum runs, and they react very well to him, and a very relaxed coach, too.
He said this, he's really enjoyed this bunch this year. Last year's team with Purvis Ellis and Kenny Payne had kind of a quiet personality. These kids are a little more ebullient. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word and a message from your local station. The Olympic Winterfest, the countdown to Albertville, will feature the European Figure Skating Championships from Leningrad, World Cup skiing from France, and the World Two-Man Bobsleds from San Moritz. Is there going to be baseball in 1990? It's in doubt. We'll tell you why as we present a special Major League Baseball report at 3:50 Eastern Time, and that'll be followed by more NCAA basketball featuring either Florida versus Georgetown or Oklahoma State against UNLV. All of this later today on CBS.
And as advertised, a little zone pressure by Louisville. 7:37 left. Then he come figure, well, what the heck? Might as well go for it.
See how this works is this Louisville team. They have held a number of opponents under 40% from the field this year, and in this half, Georgia Tech is hitting 79%, 15 of 19.
I don't know if they've ever had to cover this much area of the floor. You got 3 great perimeter shooters.
Anderson with the ball now, guarded by Tony Kimbrough. Well,
just cross your legs. And,
well,
it's deep and effective, huh? And one.
At the other end, LeBradford Smith bumps the air after hitting the shot.
He's legit. I mean, he's been quiet, but he's tried to take over for his club. Then they put Keith Williams at the point for a little bit and let him play off the ball. But a legitimate performer.
Okay. He'll go to the line and shoot one. LeBradford Smith, the junior out of Point Bay City, Texas. really playing a little bit more in control this year than he has in the last
I think he's reacted very well. I think the problem is the inside people didn't dominate on the offensive end, and they got behind. All of a sudden, he's trying to force the issue a little bit.
Anderson, 19 points and 12 assists. Oliver's got 14 points.
Good control.
Make it 16.
Harmon tried to step in and draw the charge. Great body control. Oliver.
73-60 and 6:40 to go in the ball game. Jerome Harmon short the shot. Here comes Georgia Tech in transition.
Got the numbers.
3-on-1. Scott dishes to Oliver. Loose ball. Scott comes up with it.
Great looking break. You notice how quickly Anderson will give it up to the right man. He doesn't have to finish plays. He'll give it up and let the other guy do it. No wonder Jack Curran was smiling for 4 years at Malloy. He said he used to sit there and say, wow, every few seconds. Then why not?
Anderson.
Oh, my goodness.
That's 3 more.
If he could only penetrate. He's got to round out his game a little bit.
Arkansas and Baylor tied at 19. Houston leading Notre Dame 21-16. There's LeBradford Smith at the other end. Hey, Notre Dame is going to have a tough task to make the final round of 64 this year.
They've been struggling.
Arkansas will be in.
Nice look here, Vern.
So will these two teams. And right now, Georgia Tech is having the better of it, 76-62. LeBradford Smith batted out by Spencer, and Oliver chases it down for Georgia Tech. Will he wait for help? Yes.
He really didn't need it. Heady play.
Anderson thinks about the three-pointer.
And tells Bobby to relax. Spencer, I think, the big body foul. He'll get a few of these.
If that's on Spencer, that's 4. It is.
Spencer, number 50, this is 4th, team 4th. And the game for
You know, another kid who played at Malloy High School was Billy Lawrence, and he was a great little player. And he came to every game to watch Anderson. He was a great little guard at Malloy. Out of respect for him, I mean, it's a really close-knit community. Brian Winters, another kid from that program.
Keith Williams back on the court now for Louisville. Everett Sullivan sits down.
Of course, I got a kid from that program, my first captain, Gary Cavallo, and he was a better baseball player. Figures, right? He ran like we do.
That's when you were at Seton Hall, of course. 76-62. Under 5 minutes, there's 2 more. And the lead is now 16. Largest lead of the ball game was 17. Barring something miraculous, Belton Spencer gets 2 more. Georgia Tech is going to go to 15, 16, and 4. And a big win on the road for them.
And really, if Felton could have kicked the ball to the elbow opposite on the foul line, I think they could do some damage if he doesn't have the shot. But they're going to have to get something out of their press or their DOD. There's that baseball pass.
At the other end, Jerome Harmon will have a basket.
Now they're trying to step up. Jerry Jones and Denny Crum want him to come after them, and they all backed up.
78-66. It's a 12-point edge now at the 4-minute mark. On the court, Oliver.
Tough match here.
Scott for 3. No. Rebound. Georgia Tech.
Offensive rebound.
And a fresh 45.
Has really hurt them. But you see the switching. Spencer on Scott, a little four-corner now. Tough to contain.
And a nice touch by Kenny Anderson. He's got 24 to follow Dennis Scott's 28. LeBradford Smith for 3.
And again, they can't get the team to react, defend. Now they get him. Yeah.
Jerry Jones in the red jacket screaming at his team to get up on defense. There's Jerry Jones.
Jerry's a really dedicated basketball guy. Loves it. Wants to get after them. They got a shot.
Time has been called. 3:23 remaining. The lead is 11 for Georgia Tech. Plus on hand at Freedom Hall in Louisville. Not much to cheer about since the Cardinals had a 20-17 lead midway through the first half. Louisville trails down. The Tech trio has led the way They average 70.5 points per game, Scott, Anderson, and Oliver. And this afternoon, they have scored 60 of the 80 Georgia Tech points. Scott with 28, Anderson with 24, and Oliver with 18.
Sounds like a heck of a law firm, huh?
68 of the 80 points, yes.
Goes now to full court pressure. They got to get some turnovers, deflections. But don't forget, this opens the game for Kenny Anderson. They back it off.
3:15 remaining in the ball game now. 80-69. Georgia Tech goes on the road for a while now, and Louisville also 6 of their final 7 games away from here. They don't play at home until February 27th again.
And Tech has helped them a little bit with some rush shots too. I'm sure Bobby Crimmins addressed that.
Scott.
Ooh. Harmon complained. Let's see if they give it to L.A. Smith.
LeBradford Smith, that is.
They give it to Jerome. Pretty clean looking.
Bobby Crimmins still working.
Those gray hair guys, diligent, sage.
It denotes wisdom, you're telling me. Gray hair does?
Well, in his case,
I would ask of you in kindness, what does the absence of hair mean to those of us who suffer from that?
People who worry and concern themselves.
A lot of stress. Here's Scott at the free throw line.
Out of South Carolina, where he played under Frank McGuire, and he learned a lot about the game and, of course, coaching and really dealing with players. And it's helped him at Georgia Tech.
That's Bobby Crimmins that Bill is talking about as Dennis Scott hits 2 free throws. 82-69, 2:50 to go.
Because he doesn't dress like Frank, that's one thing.
LeBradford Smith, he has really been a spark plug now. He's got 20 points.
Showed a lot of heart. They need something out of their D, though, Vern.
15 in this half for LeBradford Smith. There's the steal. Keith Williams will have 2. And that is the first dunk of the day.
And they got a hold defensively here as they got a little emotion in the building and within themselves.
That breaks the school record in a single season, a record set last year by the Purvis Ellison bunch. The original Doctors of Dunk, of course, the 1980 championship team, and the leader of that gang, Darrell Griffith, is here today with his 2 sons.
Because we saw him at halftime.
Substitution now. Derwin Webb, number 13, comes into the lineup. 82-73, 9-point lead for Georgia Tech.
A nice sequence defensively, and almost another one here as L.A. Smith gets tagged. But that's what they needed, and they just haven't been able to emote.
LeBradford Smith with another penalty. That's his second.
In the game for Louisville, Tony Kimbrough, number 44.
Tony Kimbrough checks back in for Louisville.
Number 13, Derwin.
That was a quick visit for Derwin Webb, the freshman out of Indianapolis.
And line Brown.
Carl Brown, free throw line.
Carl, if his parents have ever been over to see him play, that's got to be great discussions. You know, Anderson knows the game, I think, at a coach's level. So the intelligence as you deal with him. But anyway, Brown said his folks have never been over here to see him play and really don't know the game.
84-73, 2:09 to go. 2 more. Belton Spencer.
They've been going man-to-man. See if they switch it to a zone and a trap. Here's the trap.
Scott. They worked on this in practice yesterday.
And get it to the right guy, Anderson.
Get it to Anderson in the middle of the court.
I'm impressed with LeBradford. It's not a great game for Louisville, and he has been a constant for them. He's tried to lift them to that next level.
That's his 3rd personal. And Kenny Anderson will be at the line. You know, there's so much discussion this year, Bill, about Kenny Anderson being the best point guard ever.
Oh, Vern.
Where do you fall in that category?
Well, I mean, I like
how do you say that?
Well, it's every year you come up with another one, right?
Yeah, what happened to Chris Jackson?
Yeah, exactly. So I think there are levels of play and levels of ability and generations where a guy is the best during that era. So I'm more prone to let it happen. Let him enjoy it. He's very relaxed and comfortable within their framework. And I don't think it bothers him whether he scores or makes the play. But best is tough.
Yeah.
Bill Russell may have been, or Wilt may have been, right?
Anderson with a steal, 2 more points.
And then again, Kenny.
87-75, 90 seconds to go, and that'll send the folks scurrying out of their seats. Spencer will shoot a couple. He's fouled by McNeil. Well, when you say Kenny Anderson is the best ever, you've got to take into consideration guys like these. Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan. They'll all be in the NBA All-Star game tomorrow, but I'm with you.
That's right.
One of the best might be the way to do it.
And, of course, Chris, we mentioned one of the great ones, too. A great game tomorrow. An All-Star game. Some great talent, but Kenny just has a certain feel and flow, and he's got a personality on the floor too. I think that sets him a little bit ahead of a lot of the greats.
Spencer misfires on the rebound. For the season, 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists. And he's above that in points and assists today.
He's not the strongest. He may not be the quickest, but the combinations of things make him superb.
He's also above that in rebounds. He's got 8.
They got 3 pretty good guys with the ball, and they still turn it over.
Smith with a great save. But unfortunately for the Louisville Cardinals, after LaBradford Smith's marvelous effort, it goes out of bounds.
Brian Oliver trying to do a Kenny Anderson beat the trap. And right here, the save, and LaBradford ends up getting hurt on this particular play. LaBradford Smith.
Back on the court. 1:19 remaining. Now there's Carl Brown with the ball. Trap, foul. 1-and-1. Foul is on Jerome Harmon. Harmon, who was academically ineligible his first year and then had surgery last year, so he had a red shirt because of medical reasons. He's been out for 2 years, and what an impact he's made on this team this year.
I believe it's a disc, and of course he's a dunk contest winner in high school, Derby Classic, McDonald's Classic, and we really didn't see that alley-oop they like to run for him because of the preparation of Tech. They took it away.
Derwin Webb back on the bench.
1+1. Brown the line for 1.
And Carl Brown shooting 1-and-1.
Quiet games, though, when you think of Sullivan, Harmon, Holden. I mean, those are the A-team. How do you think he explains to the kids back in England when he goes home about Anderson? I mean, how could he relate to Keegan, the great soccer player?
That's right.
Oh, gee. Pelé, somebody like that, Georgie Best.
Yeah, he'd say, let me tell you about Pelé and Georgie Best. Well, as Kenny Anderson does for basketball what they did for soccer. 55 seconds to go. Another foul, this one on Everett Sullivan. And that'll send Brian Oliver to the lineup. Well, a lot coming up today, and then tomorrow, the Busch Clash leads it off at 12 o'clock Eastern. More college basketball, Oklahoma and Seton Hall at 12:45 Eastern. And then the highlight of the entire weekend, the NBA All-Star Game, the preview at 2:45. And we'll tip it off at 3:30 Eastern time from Miami. Dick and Hubie and Pat O'Brien are down there for the game, along with our production crew, Mike Burks and Sandy Grossman. That's tomorrow on CBS. Oliver. Felton Spencer, tough afternoon. He's got 19 points, but he really had to battle triple team most of the day.
I'm laughing because Brian Oliver told Bobby Crimmins to relax, like we got this one, and Bobby sat down. It's the first time he's been down all day.
Just go right straight. Got one left.
Chalk it up and relax. Kevin Cantwell with him, and Jimmy Hebron. Bay Shore, New York, or Bayside, New York?
Bayside.
He had the wrong age in the program. He's lying already.
Anderson. Oh, goodness. Missed the shot. 90-79. Keith Williams, Felton Spencer. Another dunk. Timeout called by Denny Crum. As the lead is 9 points now for Georgia Tech. They lead Louisville 90-81. Here on CBS. Houston continues to lead Notre Dame. Here's Kenny Anderson getting the inbound pass. Final half minute of the ball game, and a foul on Keith Williams.
Pretty good pulling of the string there as we look at some scores. The 4 across, the home run pass to Anderson, and then he backed it out. So Louisville wisely using the clock.
Brief conversation with Bobby Crane.
This is Coach, I'm telling you, relax.
Oliver's grinning and says, we got this. 28 points for Kenny Anderson. Tony Kimbrough back in now for Louisville, replacing Derwin Webb.
So they've looked like a tough team to beat right now. A good road win if they hang on. Georgia Tech, I think their defense has just risen to that level you need to excel nationally.
92-81. Keith Williams in the corner. Oliver for Georgia Tech. And Williams with the foul.
Not Louisville's gasp. Got to make the three. If you don't, you got to finish it, put it in. 2 timeouts remaining.
That's his first.
It's funny when you have a team as Louisville. They've got a nice inside game, and yet they have a nice outside game. But at certain games, one's going to have to pull them across. And they've got to recognize that. And defensively, when they're usually good team-wise, but just the stretching of Georgia Tech of the defense, they couldn't help one another. So it's an unusual situation for them today.
And for Georgia Tech, Matt Geiger gets or hugs Dennis Scott as he comes to the sideline. Just got a glimpse of Bruce Dalrymple on the bench as well.
Last year, you couldn't get your arms around Scott.
That's right. Final 7 seconds to go. Big win for Georgia Tech on the road. Scott with 30 points, Kenny Anderson with 29, Oliver with 19. The only other points, 2 from McNeil and 8 from McMackey. And for the Louisville Cardinals, their 5th loss of the season, and now they go on the road in Metro Conference play. They've got 6 of their final 7 games away from Louisville. They get Tulane at home here on the 27th of February.
But as disappointing as it is, when you look at the tapes as a coach, it's a different style of team that you're used to playing it. And again, Spencer against this particular team is almost ineffective. But yet, what do you do with a 7-footer that's a great player for you? You let him play. So it just the stretching is devastating to your switching defense.
Got the free throw to fall for Carl Brown. 94-81. Williams. Did they count it? Yes, they did. The basket is good, but that just cuts the lead to 10 in the final margin. A 94-84 victory for Bobby Kerman's team over the Louisville Cardinals, coached by Denny Crum. Kenny Anderson won a line, 29 points on 10 of 16 shooting, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, and 6 turnovers.
Awesome performance. I knew you'd enjoy him.
Well, he was all that was advertised, and they got some supplemental help from the outside, Scott and Oliver. 94-84 the final. We'll be back in just a moment. Dennis Scott and Kenny Anderson.
A lot has been said about your weight. I noticed Geiger had a hard time putting his arms around you. Would have been worse last year.
It probably would have been worse. I probably wouldn't have been able to play the whole game without getting tired.
Of course, playing with this guy next to me, it really opens things up for you.
It really does. I think when Coach goes to the small lineup and he lets me play the high post and I set screens for Kenny, and every time someone switches, I'm stuck with the smaller guy or the bigger guy. I think now, with the shape I'm in, I can handle anybody with the ball.
We'll find out how Crimmins taught this guy how to penetrate. Did you know that before you got here?
No, I could dribble real well with the ball, so I use that to my advantage and try to, get open in gaps and find Dennis and Brian cutting. And we've been doing that well all year, and it's made my game a lot easier.
Yeah, in watching a lot of your games this year, I've never seen one where you stretched the defense as much. You really created and you were able to dump it off to the other guys.
You know, like I said, Brian, you got to give most of the credit to Brian and Dennis Scott. They move so well without the ball and just make my job a lot easier. You know, I'm just creating, and they're there, and they're getting the ball.
Keep up the good work. Had a great day.
Thanks a lot.
Bern?
Thank you, Bill. They're fun to watch, aren't they? And they're 15-4 for the year. We'll be back here in Louisville's Freedom Hall, where Georgia Tech won it by 10 right after this message. Oliver with 18 as Georgia Tech wins by 10. So for Bill Raftery and Andrea Joyce, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Freedom Hall, where our final score was Georgia Tech 94, Louisville 84. Later today, and